Tansei, my friends. I'm Michaela from Usky Holistic Adventures, and I have an exciting video for you today. So this video is going to be a little bit of my story of homeschooling. So right now we're kind of going through crazy times and everyone is home with their kids right now. And it's a unique experience for a lot of people. And for me, this is the way that I grew up. So I wanted to share with you my experiences. So maybe that I could help you with your kids at home, or if you're a kid watching this, like help you come up with some ideas to keep school going and keep that that sense of normalcy and to have fun being stuck at home. So for us growing up, we lived at Big Eddy Lodge, and Big Eddy Lodge is an off-grid place. We're about 60 kilometers from the nearest community of Cumberland House, and there's no road access. So the only way we can go in town is by motorboat or skidoo in the winter, and it's quite a long journey. So we weren't really just homeschooled by choice, we were actually homebound. So we had no choice. We couldn't leave our home. We had to be here. So that's when my mom decided to start doing homeschooling with us. I'll just be talking mainly about my own experience. I went and found a bunch of our old homeschool projects, and I want to share those with you. So it was me, my brother, and my sister that were homeschooled here at Big Eddy Lodge. And my mother was the main educator. She was the one who helped facilitate everything, to help step us through a lot of the pieces of education. But eventually, after a while, we became very independent and we were able to learn on our own. So my mom was running the business here full-time, as well as teaching and taking care of us. So it's 100% possible to be working from home and teaching your children at the same time. So I did from grade 1 to grade 9 of homeschooling. It was a really good experience for us. For myself, it taught me like independence, taught me creativity, and I was really, I flourished in homeschool, so I really enjoyed it. For us, what really helped is we didn't have a TV, so I definitely recommend turning off the Wi-Fi or getting rid of the iPads, at least for periods of the day. I know that can be hard in some households, because right now a lot of us are like binge watching things, and it's kind of just a good way to just kind of relax, really, because like it's a pretty stressful world. And so I totally 100% like support if you're watching a lot of TV right now, like that's okay. But there's some strategies that I can share with you on how to kind of I guess open up your world a little bit more while you're stuck at home. And for us also, we had a big giant yard to play in, so that really helped us a lot. So if you have any access to any kind of nature, definitely utilize that as much as possible. If you're stuck inside your house, that's okay too. There's been times where we weren't able to leave our house because it's the middle of the winter, it's -30, so we just have to hunker down and stay inside. So we've been through all those periods. So for a majority of the time, it was just me and my sister and my mom in our little tiny house at Big Eddy Lodge here doing homeschool. So, and my dad was always gone working in the bush, and my brother, he left around, like I said, grade 9. So it was just like me and my sister doing a lot of this with ourselves. So you don't necessarily need to have like a big group of kids. We were perfectly socialized ourselves, just me, my sister, and my brother. We really learned how to get along with each other, and we had to do this. So that was the biggest lesson that I took away from homeschooling, is learning how to get along with my family and to get along with my siblings. I think right now maybe a lot of people are going through some struggles of the clashes of the siblings, because when you're in school, you never have to see your siblings at all, and you never have to work with kids of different ages. So that's going to be a big challenge. I've noticed that with my niece and nephew, their brother and sister. They're 2 years apart. He's 4, he's 2. They go to the same daycare, but they're usually separated into different groups. So now that they're kind of forced together, they're clashing quite a lot, and there's some jealousy, some rivalry, some just learning how to play with each other. And I've been trying to teach them, like, okay, like, we have to learn how to get along. Before we dig into this treasure trove, I'm going to be using these for examples for the 4 main strategies that I want to share with you of homeschooling. There's many different strategies, but these 4 are definitely kind of the pillar stones of homeschool education for me. So the 4 strategies, of course, are the art of life, journaling, acting, and the gamification of everything. So let's go through those 4 strategies. This assignment here, we did this quite a lot. So what we had to do is we had to sit with some pencils and we had to draw out our day. So what happened in our day? This is the art of life. So this is when I was really young. So at this point, I couldn't really write that well. So what I would do is I would draw the picture and I would describe to my mom what the picture was about, and she would write the story of what I was writing. And then we would, for us, we actually sent in all of our homework to a teacher over in Vancouver Island. So in Victoria, they had South Island distance education. That was pretty much the only homeschooling facility in Canada at the time. So my mom would actually go through our work. She would mark it herself, but then to get an unbiased opinion, she'd send it in to South Island distance education, and we'd have a teacher look through it. And so we still have the little sticky notes saying, you know, oh, this is a wonderful picture. You are a very clever artist. So just little things like that. I mean, right now, maybe you don't have access to that, but I know a lot of schools are kind of going online. They're in the transition to that. So maybe you can start doing these draw your days out kind of pictures and start collecting those for the teacher. So we write the date, you know, like I just put like day 3 on here. So strategy number 2 is journals. We did journals for every day, and we kind of did them like month by month. So this is, for example, April, because right now it's April. So I did a whole kind of schedule for April, and I made it into like a nice little booklet. So I'm gonna read a little bit of, you know, April 1st. I was writing here. So this month, my sister and I worked on a big wedding project. They gave us some colored glue paint and some empty jars, and we painted each jar differently and added a candle. So we also continually act out our Lord of the Rings games and have many props. So now that the snow is gone, we also started a home decorating game outside. We have to decorate a space outside using things we find in nature. And they're like houses that are almost good enough to live in. So we were just like really kind of creative. We had a section here where we were just doing jive dances in our house, listening to some music and coming up with our own dance routines. So it was just really fun. It was mainly just us kind of doing what we like to do all day, but we would actually journal it. So there was kind of a process. It was more professional, and you put more thought into it. Like, okay, we're doing this project today. We're playing this game. You know, how could it be part of school? This is strategy number 3, which is acting. So we would act out everything that we saw on TV. So we didn't get much time to spend watching TV, but every time we went to my grandparents' house, my grandparents would let us binge watch TV for like, 12 hours straight. We're just sitting there eating chips, watching TV, and it was a grand old time. But by the end of, the few days that we were there, we just felt like kind of a little sick, out of it, like kind of spinning brain syndrome. But we really missed the TV, so we had to go back to the bush and we had nothing to watch. So we would sit around and say, you know what, let's react that show. Do you remember what happened? So then we'd be like, okay, there was this character, that character, they were doing this, and we totally reenacted. So that's the strategy of acting. The last strategy that I want to share with you is the gamification of everything. So especially if you have siblings working together, you have to make everything a game. Right now, the kids are having a problem like playing with each other because they get upset if one takes the other. You know, Salchi will go and take Isabel's boots, and she'll get upset and cry. Instead of doing that, you can teach them how to play the game chase. You know, you just have to like be very creative and think, okay, how can this be a fun game? So he takes your boots, let's chase him around a bit. And then maybe you can find something of his, grab that, and then he chases you, and then you've got a game going on there. So you really have to look into how everything can become a game, instead of getting upset about it. Because you're kind of trapped together, you're stuck together. You know, me and my sister especially were trapped together, and we just decided to make everything fun, everything a game. And then that really helped us like kind of build a really awesome relationship with each other. So this opportunity of homeschooling is a huge opportunity to build your family's relationship. So that is all for now. I'm Michaela from Scaleistic Adventures, and I wish you the very best on your homeschooling journey. Please message me, email me if you want some more information on homeschooling, have some questions. I am here to help.